And welcome everybody to this meeting of the Licensing Committee. Some housekeeping before we begin. We're not expecting the fire alarm to sound this evening, but if it does, please leave the building through the fire exits and meet outside at the fire assembly point. Officers will direct any evacuation necessary, and I think you're all familiar with the signs and symbols. This meeting will be recorded and will be uploaded to the council's website. If you are planning on filming or recording the meeting, then do please let us know so that we can ensure you're not filming. Members of the public, so that's all right. The chair reserves the right to ask any film considered intrusive to be stopped. More information is available on the council's website. Catherine, could we have apologies, please?
We have apologies from Cllr O'Sullivan, Cllr Craig and Cllr Reynolds.
Thank you very much indeed. There is no public participation. Declarations of interest. Do any members have declarations of interest? No. Thank you very much indeed. We now move to the minutes of the meeting held, oh God, for a long time ago, held on 18th October 2023. You've all had a copy, so I hope you've refreshed your memories on those. Can I now approve these as a true record? Do I have a proposer? Councillor Broadhurst, do I have a seconder?
Second.
Thank you very much indeed. Councillor Wayne, Irish. Are there any comments on the minutes or any matters arising? No, thank you. Are we all agreed? Thank you very much indeed. Member training and opportunity, please. I think Ms. Phil Bates is going to take us through that way.
Yes, I've not got anything prepared, so I've got nothing to read on that. So member training guidance does suggest that members should train annually, although I believe the Constitution says that that's every 2 years, it's my understanding. We used James Button to train you about 3 years ago now. And since then, it's been undertaken by myself and Andy Forrest from Times City Council legal team. The arrangements that Eastleigh Borough Council has with Times has changed since June. Times City Council no longer provide the legal element of the contract of that agreement. So the offer of Mr. Forrest providing that training, or someone from Southampton providing that training, where you'd have to pay for it so separately, effectively. It's not part of the agreement anymore. I will not be in the authority by the time you need training next. I will be retiring in May next year. Wow. And your training usually takes place shortly after re-elections, which is usually in May, sort of May, June time. It's when your training usually takes place. That said, although I am retiring from the council, I do remain with the Institute of Licensing, tend to remain with the Institute of Licensing, and part of the role I do there is to provide elements of training. So I may be able to come in, but again, there would be a fee, but considerably smaller than this department last time. So that's one option. There are other options available. So I've mentioned the Institute of Licensing, Southampton are members, and although we're in a partnership, Eastleigh Borough Council is not a member of the Institute of Licensing. You can get corporate membership for in the region of £600, which can be covered by your licence fees, and that then provides you with discounted training. I had a quick look, and they do run a member training course due in February, I think. I can't remember the precise date. It's an all-day training course, which they will provide online rather than in person one somewhere. But it's around about £250 a person if you're not members, and £180 if you are members. And the Institute do provide an awful lot of other training. But your officers already get advantage of it because they are Southampton, so we already have it. And that's something that we can go away and discuss between now and next year on options for training. The LGA provide guidance and some videos, and Cornerstone Chambers barristers, they provide some training videos as well, but it's not interactive training. So if you have questions, you'd still be a little bit stuck and having to come to find someone like myself on your own legal team to give you those answers on there. So that's some decisions to be made. One that will be made before I go. And what happens, sort of guide the Eastleigh officers on the direction that needs to go.
Thank you very much indeed for that, Phil. And you will be sorely missed by this committee, I have to say. And I very much appreciated the training that you're now doing. Mr. Button was excellent, but in a different way. And I think because it was very much like that with Andy, it was a very good force. There are others here, I think, who are nodding their heads in agreement. So anyway, lots to be talked about there. Thank you very much, Phil. And then, oh, sorry.
Yeah, just wanted to ask Joe really whether we've got something that's within the forward plan and we're looking at options.
Yes.
Going forward.
We're at the moment just looking at the licensing agreement with some active. So those things are going to be taken forward. I've got a couple of meetings the next few weeks.
Yeah. From what I've noticed in the past year, getting everybody in one place for one time to do the training is an issue. So going through the Institute of Licensing where they only do it in February on one day, possibly not be the best option, but just like 2 pennies worth.
Thanks for that, Tony.
I should say, I think with the training every year that people's availability is also a challenge. And even when we have Mr. Button come down for the day, Andy Forrest and I did then do some wash-up sessions. And then I think you just have to accept that that's always going to happen. Yeah, someone's going to have to come along. Have a second session.
Questions? No. Right. I think it's over to you again. For the Gambling Act 2005, the statement principles.
Yeah, I think actually I'm the reason you're all here tonight. I don't think anyone else can be blamed. This is a triennial review of your gambling statement licensing principles. Something that the authority has to go through every 3 years. We went through that earlier this year. We gave it some very minor updates around just the way that it read, slightly better grammar and that sort of thing. And that was approved sort of internally with officers. On the content, there was no change to the actual policies themselves as such. And that was then consulted upon through the summer. We received 3 responses to that. They were from, I think it was Council Care, and then a couple of the council organisations from people of property gambling, and then there were 2 responses from different organisations that represent the companies that provide gambling facilities. Nothing too significant again on their changes. All their suggestions. Certainly, one wrote quite a lot, explaining what they do, but didn't really comment on the policy as such. And so that has been attached to your appendix. Is what we are recommending is adopted as your statement of licensing principles for the Gambling Act.
Thank you very much indeed. Has members any questions? Yes,
because one of the things they brought up was that the data was out of date. Wasn't the Gambling Commission was due to redate it this summer? Did they do that?
There were 2 sets. We're waiting for them to publish their guidance to local authorities, and they apologised to us earlier in the year saying we're not going to get it out, and it's getting up to each local authority how they deal with that. The way the policy is written, you have to take into consideration, if you do have to make any decisions, you have to take into consideration their guidance anyway. So it's not going to need an update. I think we'll quite comfortably get through to the next 3 years.
Any questions from anybody else? I've just got one. Could you explain the difference, please, between a temporary use notice and an occasional use notice? Sorry, but I wouldn't understand it.
I must confess, without going to look it up, I probably would struggle to do that.
Sorry.
No, don't apologise. What I will do, councillors, I will get back to you with what that is.
Would you mind?
No, not, of course not. Gambling is, I think every local government officer that does licensing struggles with gambling. And it's funny, I met with the Deputy Chief Inspector of the Gambling Commission earlier this summer. One of the questions she asked me was, what can we do to help? And I said, well, we need all the guides we can, because whenever we go into a premises, we're on the back foot.
Yeah.
Because the premises know far more about the Gambling Act than we do.
Yeah.
Because I think you've got less than 30 premises that are gambling.
It is, yeah.
Within the borough. Our interaction, they very rarely cause a problem. We go in and check to make sure they're okay, but we don't get problems with them. And so, we never really tested them.
No.
So I have to apologise. Off the top of my head, I could not tell you the precise difference, and I won't want to give you anything wrong, but I will get you the answer.
You reassure me in that respect. But
John, it's the obvious one is occasional, and the other one is temporary. That's the obvious answer.
And it may well be that,
but temporary could be occasional as well.
I suspect the temporary one is possibly sort of a one-off, and the occasional, as you say, is
Occasionally.
Every once in a month,
yeah.
once a month or whatever.
It may be, but I will go away and research that for you, and I will let you know.
Anything else from anybody? No? Right. Do I therefore have a proposer? Tanya? Seconder, Derek? Any further debates? We've had questions. Any further debate on the subject? No? Right. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you very much indeed. Right. Oh, guess who it is? We now have the report from panel hearing since the last committee meeting. And again, Bill is going to present those for us. Please.
Just got to find them now. Right, so I went from April this year when we had the Barnfield Cafe and Field, which was a new application. I know at the time caused some concern. People were thinking there was going to be midnight raves and God knows what else going on there at the time. We were reassured that that was not going to be the case. However, there were some representations made. Mainly were from the public. I think all the responsible authorities reached agreement with the applicant on what activities would be going on and the type of activities that were going on. So the application was granted with some slight amendments that restricted the sale of alcohol to only between 10 AM and midnight, and that any events not to exceed the capacity of 1,000 persons. And so that, though it caused an initial flurry of emails, etc., I think by the time we got to the hearing, things settled considerably. And that was thanks to my team doing some good work, I think, in talking to a lot of people that were making those representations.
There's a lot of over the time that really did help that they were actually talking to the
we try and get hold of them and reassure people. The next one was the 10th of May this year, Tesco Express at Bournemouth Road. That was a new application. There were 3 public reps only, so all the responsible authorities had no issues with it, and that passed through relatively easily and was granted as per the application. And then in 16th of July this year, it showed at Football Club a new application that they wanted for match days and other events. Conditions were agreed with the Environment Health Team, restricting music to 2300. There were 2 additional representations from members of the public, and the application was effectively granted subject to the agreed amendments restricted music to no later than 2300 except for Christmas and New Year, when it's restricted to 1 AM. There was also a condition on placing notices asking patrons to leave quietly and some noise level monitoring. So it appeared to be quite a sensible outcome on that one. And then quite an interesting one, quite an unusual one that occurred on 19th September, where the Jelly Group had applied for a variation to their premises licence that they had to carry or to conduct a festival event in the Royal Victoria Country Park. Effectively, they put an application in to run the event in July or August, and there were various conditions around submitting event management plans, etc. Before the Safety Advisory Group within certain time limits. They had failed to do that, and therefore, against advice from just about every responsible authority, they put a variation application to see if they could hold that event in September. And even through that application, they still failed to complete forms correctly. It raised concerns with both myself and the police licence officer, PC Brian Swallow. We both put representations in on that. And the reason it's unusual is because normally, the licensing act is a presumption of grant. It's the way it works. And effectively, you give the licence holder a length of rope. And it's that usually ties themselves up in knots with. Well, this company never got that far. They never held an event to show us that they could get it so badly wrong. But PC Swallow and I were both of the opinion that with the way they mismanaged their applications so bad, we had no faith in how they were going to manage an event. I've never sort of seen a hearing like this before, so it's quite unusual. As I say, that came before the authority, and that application was refused. And I know, having spoken to the Royal Victoria Country Park manager, they fully supported that and completely understood that decision.
That's good.
So over the cases, I think on the report that I provided, I've then given you some numbers. The green numbers are referring to Gambling Act. So just in case you're thinking I've gone a little bit back, because the first one's referred to alcohol licensed premises. That's about having gaming machines within the venues. Which is why it comes under the Gambling Act rather than the Licensing Act. And then the blue denotes the Licensing Act. We also deal with one or two other types of licenses or permits. They're highlighted there as well. And I've also listed how many applications have been received since the 1st of February up to when I compiled this, which was 21st of October. And as you can see, sort of quite a number of applications still are coming in. It sort of shows what I was saying earlier about gambling issue, in that the number of gambling venues is considerably less than your licensing act venues, and that's the same pretty much in every part of the country, I think, with possibly the exception of Westminster. And then I've given you some details about some of the complaints that we've dealt with. And sort of a brief summary of the work that the team have been doing. They do carry out visits, and Ian from my team in particular is doing quite a lot of work with Eastleigh Football Club, who are trying to improve the facilities there and the offer that they have there. And there's quite a good collaboration and partnership working going on there as well.
Thank you very much indeed for that, Phil. Has anyone any questions on this? No? Well, in that case, are you happy for me to note this report? I'm happy with that. Well, thank you very much indeed, all of you, for listening. And we've come to the end of the agenda here. The next meeting will take place on Wednesday, 5th February 2025 at 6:15 PM. So we will see you. Thank you very much for that very. Thank you very much. Thank you.